Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to your Rangers Review press conference reaction video. We've heard from Philippe, Clement, and James Tavernier ahead of Sunday's League Cup semi-final against Motherwell at Hampden. Rangers returning to the National Stadium this weekend to discuss the big takeaways from both. Chris Jack joins me from outside the Rangers Training Centre. How's it going, Chris?
All good, Derek. Another busy day as always, but every day is a busy day in the world of Rangers Football Club at present.
Yes, absolutely. And Philippe Clement, many discussion points to be addressed in his press conference. He touched on discussions, or the lack of, with the current board following Wednesday night's defeat against Aberdeen. He was quizzed on the direction the club is going. What he makes about being so far behind Celtic and Aberdeen. He had a message towards the supporters as well, whether he feels secure in his position. What did you make of the manager's performance today, Chris?
I don't think any of it came as a massive surprise. He clearly feels that he's in the right place. He clearly feels that there's progress within this Rangers squad. I think, as we discussed on the show with Stevie this morning, as we've spoken about, I don't think those views are widely shared amongst the Rangers fans. I think he's got a lot of work to do to try and win people back over. Of course, the easiest way of doing that is by winning games, but you just can't see Rangers. Again, we touched on it earlier on with Stevie. Even over the next week before the international break, League Cup, Europa League, Premiership. Can you see this Rangers side putting three performances together and earning three results? He touched on some of the factors that he's looking for. He referenced small margins in games. He referenced he's looking for more fight. He referenced Rangers doing the basics. I think a lot of fans would counter that and say, well, you've been in the building for more than 12 months now. A number of these players have been with you for that period. Even the new additions to the squad have been there for a couple of months now. Surely the basics should be the non-negotiables. Fight should be the non-negotiables. A big point after the Kelly defeat a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think it was a press conference that will win over many Rangers fans. But ultimately, the way that he is going to win people over is by winning games, and I think that's his biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, absolutely is. We'll bring you a clip up shortly of what the manager had to say with regards to the boardroom and the support that he has from the Rangers hierarchy. I'll read you some of the points that he was quizzed on. On the point to kick off, has the time since Wednesday changed your opinion on whether this team is heading in the right direction? No is what he said. He said, I saw the same things. The things that the team did well, and for sure also the things that we didn't do well, why we lost the game. So that's why we discussed also today. Quizzed on what would your message be to those fans who have lost faith that this project led by you is heading in the right direction. He says because he saw last season also that with the right conclusions, with the right attitude, with the right mentality, with the right spirit, things can change really fast, and we're working really hard on that with all the group on the pitch about what to do, off the pitch, what to do, and to know what this club is about, and that every loss is a drama. It's a really bad thing. That's what you need to live with, what you need to embrace with. Because of that, you have also the good moments, and we're going to continue working hard with all the squad to have that in the mind, and then to break these moments of games that were not good enough, that we didn't concede our goals, and to get more consistency in the good moments, which were there a few times, but not enough this season. Were you surprised when he was quizzed, Chris, on whether he's had discussions with John Gilligan or members of the board? In the last couple of days, he said, I didn't have discussions about that. In the last couple of weeks, they've been really busy with a lot of other things in the club.
Not hugely surprised, no. I think, again, as we've discussed in recent weeks, there are a number of issues in play at Rangers. The manager is clearly a big one, but without that proper structure above him, without a new chairman being appointed, without a chief exec, without other key appointments being made round about Auchenhowie and round about Ibrox, all all of that, all those conversations, there's a time and a place for them, and it's not a real surprise to me that the John Gilligan and George Latham are really focusing on those issues and leaving the manager to football issues. I think it all ties into the one bigger issue. Of course, it ties into the bigger picture, but nobody can convince me that because there is no chief exec or because there's no chairman, Rangers can't go and perform at Kilmarnock or lose sloppy goals at Aberdeen. The manager, he says he's focused on the sportive side of it, as he phrases it.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say there's a lot of work to be done on that particular side of it. So it doesn't come as a huge surprise. I think both parts of Rangers, the executive side, the business side, and the football side, they have to coexist. They have to be successful together. But sometimes they do just have to be try and strive for their own successes in their own areas. And there certainly is a lot of work to be done in both of those respective camps.
I'll play the snippet of what Clement had to say about those boardroom discussions. Here he is.
Have you had in the last couple of days with John Gilligan or members of the board as to how they feel about being 9 points behind two rivals at this stage in the season?
I didn't have discussions about that. The last couple of weeks they've been really busy with a lot of other things in the club.
Philippe, just saying then you've not had discussions with the board. We know that it's been a long-term project. There was the big squad overhaul in the summer. You got the new contract at the start of the season. How confident are you that the board, the people above you, will have faith in you, even if results don't turn around instantly?
I'm very confident about that because that was also the really clear message to step in a story for longer term. They knew everything about the numbers, about what was necessary, and I don't want to repeat all these things. I think I said it enough. And what consequences it can have, and it's about small margins, like last season, taking those margins and making it better again. Last season we turned it around in a really short period in that way. I'm convinced that can happen now also.
So that's what he had to say on that. You asked him, Chris, about did he receive assurances before signing his new deal that no matter how bad performances and results were, his position would not be impacted. He says it's never about no matter what. It's about we know how difficult it will be and we're going to stick together and we're going to do this project together for the next couple of years. So that's been clearly talked about. Of course, I know if you lose 10 games in a row and all the players don't want to work with you, then there's an environment that you cannot work in, but that's totally not the case. Next couple of years then, Chris, listen, I think he gets beat on Sunday. I don't see any way back for him. I can't see him seeing out that couple of years and beyond.
I think, as I said on the show this morning, the Rangers fans are not buying what Philippe Clement is selling right now.
No.
He has a lot of ground to make up, and I think in the eyes of many Rangers fans, he has no credit left in the bank at all. And there will be some that do understand the message. I think almost everyone will understand that message of this has to be a long-term project. They will understand the fact that Rangers had to go in a different direction. The accounts lay that bare. The issues that the squad have had in recent seasons lay that bare. We're all fully aware that Rangers are in this rebuilding phase, but that has to come at the same time as results and performances. It may sound harsh, it may sound unrealistic. That's life at Rangers. You either accept it and you get on with it and you achieve it, or you don't and you end up moving on. It's no point continually saying Rangers will be better in a couple of years. You cannot afford just to write off this season. The fans again travelled in the numbers to Aberdeen. They will travel in the numbers to Hampden. The guys heading out to Greece next week. A big crowd at Ibrox next Sunday. The fans are right to demand and to expect that results and performances come at the same time. No one went into this season believing that Rangers would romp the Premiership title. Very few, I think, actually believe that Rangers could put up a really solid challenge for it and would emerge victorious. But they expected Rangers to be a lot better than they have been. They are not seeing the signs of progress. They're not seeing the advancements individually and collectively. They're not seeing a manager just learning from his mistakes, and that's where the frustration, that's where the anger is coming in. The Rangers fans, if you give them something to buy into, if you give them that glimmer of hope, if you give them that belief that things will actually be better, they will buy into it. They will go with you on that journey. They're not seeing that, and that's why more and more people are convinced that this journey only ends with Philippe Clement losing his job at some stage.
Yeah, he's very stubborn, set in his ways about how he wants to play. For me, he's got to change that radically starting on Sunday. He might get by, like you said earlier in the show this morning, Chris. Most Rangers matches are decided a bit of a toss of the coin on a knife edge. They're not creating enough. They're conceding goals. And this is a great opportunity for Motherwell, I would say, to get themselves to a cup final. PM gets in touch, very topical, says, make Rangers great again. Yes, absolutely. Oh, how we'd love Rangers to be far and away better than what they are at this moment in time. James Tavernier also up for the press. I'll read you. He was quizzed on that fan anger and the frustration following Wednesday night's defeat to Aberdeen. This is what you had to say.
Yeah, I totally understand the frustrations because ultimately they want to see us win games. You can understand the frustration. But me as a captain and me as a squad player for Rangers, you know, I'm doing everything possible in my power, and I know all the players in the dressing room are going to be doing everything in their power to, you know, to put in the performances and the results that the fans will be, you know, proud of. So we've got to continuously work hard every day, and you know, obviously. Ultimately, we can do all the talking we want.
Pretty stock answer there from James Tavernier, Chris. It was a typical Tav press conference. Talked about the slump in form. He was also quizzed on the manager as well, whether he has specific discussions about where they are and how they can improve. He says, we constantly chat throughout the season as a captain and as a manager. We always have a dialogue with each other all the time, winning and losing. We always want to improve, but it's important to have that dialogue and have a dialogue with the squad and demand more of each other. On the criticism of the manager and if he feels that the players can turn it around for him, says the players are obviously fully committed to turning anything around. The lads want to win games. Obviously, the manager is getting criticism and the team is getting criticism, but that happens when you don't get the results you want. It's down to us as players to improve ourselves and obviously, first and foremost, deliver the results that your club want and the fans want. What do you make of James Tavernier's press conference display, Chris?
You said stock there. I think it's safe to say Tav has had a press conference like that once or twice over the course of his Rangers career. It's not the first time he's had to answer these type of questions. Not the first time, of course, that he's been in this situation with a Rangers manager under huge pressure. So I don't think there was anything too outstanding that jumped out there. It was, as you say, very, very stock. Part 2 of that interview is out at 7:00 on the website and on the YouTube channel. I asked him a couple of questions about his form this season. Can't also give too much away ahead of the embargo, but I don't think his answer will be agreed with by a lot of people, put it that way. So people can check that out later on.
Yep, 7 p.m. as Chris says there, folks. And the manager, there's an embargo section, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. You can see the second part of Philippe Clement's press conference ahead of that game on Sunday against Motherwell. Also, just a heads up, tomorrow you can find on the website myself and Chris's team selections. Now, I caveat mine because I'm not going to come in for a wave of stick as I normally do on social media. This is a team I would stick out, not necessarily what Philippe Clement would play. I think that Clement will be pretty rigid, Chris, in terms of formation. I don't think we'll see wholesale changes, do you?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I think, as we touched on this morning, he's a manager that goes about his business in a set way. He was actually asked about that in part 2 of the press conference, as you say, out tomorrow night. He was asked about a potential formation change, and he answered that and addressed that. So again, I can't give too much away, but I thought it was an interesting answer to that particular question. So ask people to go and check that out tomorrow when that's on the site.
Yeah, good stuff. Right, we'll let you go, Chris. Big thanks as ever for covering those press conferences for us. And thank you to you all for your support to the channel and for tuning in as ever. We will have all the usual coverage from Hampden on Sunday. So, yeah, tune in for that pre-match and post-match stuff. We'll be there covering the game, so you won't miss anything from Hampden. So, we'll speak to you again on Sunday, folks. Enjoy your Friday evening and your Saturday. Bye for now.